Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, this talk will commence shortly. Please be reminded to put your mobile phone on silent mode for the smooth running of today's program. Thank you. All right, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, distinguished guests and all attendees. Let we start our talk today with national anthem. So please standing. All attendees may have a seat. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Greeting to Yang Berusaha, Professor Engineer Technologist Dr. Hajah Hamidah binti Muhammad Saman, Assistant Vice Chancellor College of Engineering, Professor Engineer Technologist Dr. Haji Solihuddin Chuib, Dean Academic and International College of Engineering, Professor Engineer Dr. Aida binti Jumahat, Dean Research and Innovation College of Engineering. Our distinguished invited speakers, Ms. Katie Peace, Ms. Lee Hong, Mr. Ang Eng Guan from the Taylor and Francis Group, management team, College of Engineering, and all attendees, whether present physically or virtually. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good afternoon to everyone. All right, so honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Research and Innovation Office, College of Engineering UITM, I'm Dr. Siti Aisyah Miti Ghazali, welcoming all of you to the book publishing with Taylor and Francis talk. And thank you for joining us today. Before we move on, I would like to invite all Muslim attendees to join us for reciting Suratul Al-Fatiha. Al-Fatiha. All right, so without further ado, I would like to welcome Yang Berusaha, Professor Engineer Technologist Dr. Hajah Hamidah binti Muhammad Saman, Assistant Vice Chancellor, College of Engineering, to deliver her welcoming speech. Please welcome, Prof.
Thank you, Dr. Siti Asha, the Master of Ceremony for today. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to Professor Technologist Engineer Dr. Solahuddin Shoaib, Dean of Academic and International College of Engineering, Professor Technologist Dr. Aida Jumaat, Dean Research and Innovation, College of Engineering, Deans and Management Team of College of Engineering, our distinguished invited speakers, Miss Katie Peace, Senior Publisher, Taylor and Francis Group, Mr. Ang Eng Guan, Managing Director, Taylor and Francis Group, Miss Lee Hong, Business Development Manager, Taylor and Francis Group, and all the participants and all guests, welcome to the seminar for book publishing with Taylor and Francis. So, Assalamualaikum, a warm greeting, Salam UiTM, and Salam Madani Malaysia. Alhamdulillah, grateful to Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala for His blessing. Allow us to gather here today for the seminar with Taylor and Francis team. I extend my congratulations to the Office of Research and Innovation, College of Engineering, UiTM, for organizing this seminar. The objective of this seminar is to provide the academic members in College of Engineering to understand the process to publish book in Taylor and Francis, and also to empower all researchers and lecturers to plan and publish impactful works in your respective fields. We are honored to have our distinguished speakers today from Taylor and Francis Group, Miss Katie, Mr. Ang, and Miss Lee. Welcome to UiTM to share their insight and guidance for us, for new researchers or for experienced researchers through the process of publishing at international level. At the end of this session, all researchers are invited to have a discussion with Taylor and Francis Group team to discuss about publishing books. Ladies and gentlemen, this seminar also provides essential guidance as the university has set KPI. For college engineering, the KPI for publication is 66 books per year. Yeah, begin this year. But to tell everybody here, we only, up to this November, we only have 5 books published. 4 books indexed in Scopus, another one is non-indexed. So it means that a lot of efforts and works need to be done. So all of us, at least 10% can publish, because the academic members in College of Engineering is about 520 members. This is very big faculty because we are combining 4 engineering faculty, mechanical, civil, chemical, and electrical become one college. That's why our researchers and academic members huge, 520. But we only able to produce 5 books only. So we hope next year the number will increase, and we hope this seminar will will initiate to become a stepstone for us to move forward to fulfill the KPI set by the university. I strongly encourage everyone here to explore the possibility of book publishing as a valuable avenue to showcase your expertise. By drawing on the insights shared today, I believe we can work towards meeting and possibly exceeding our KPI. Our important aspect of research is enhancing collaboration and partnership across universities, industries, communities, and institutions locally and internationally. So, through strategic collaboration, we are encouraged to publish in collaboration with other partners, other universities or industries. So we can produce more comprehensive and high impact publication that can make a broader impact. I am confident that such partnership will strengthen the position of our researchers on both national and international levels. We must also focus on increasing the visibility and academic reputation of the College of Engineering at the international levels by publishing and collaborate with international universities or communities or industries would fulfill this our target to be visible at international level. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, it is my great pleasure to officially welcome all attendees to the book Publishing with Taylor and Francis seminar. May this program be a catalyst for further academic achievement and publishing success, ultimately strengthening our college position in the global academic community. Thank you. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Professor Engineer Theologist Dr. Hamidah binti Muhammad Saman, for the welcoming speech. All right, so we're now moving to our agenda today, so which consists of various segments designed to provide an insight into the publishing process, collaboration opportunities, and data analysis of publishing trends. All right, so today's session will be divided as follows. So first, Ms. Katie Peace, Senior Publisher, will lead a session on how to get published, offering tips and insight for both new authors like me and senior authors like Prof. All right. Following this, we will have an author-editor face-to-face session, so providing an invaluable opportunities for direct dialogue with Ms. Katie Peace. Next, Mr. Ang Eng Guan and Ms. Lee Hong will present a publication data analysis segment, exploring trends and discussing how we can collaborate better with Stella and Francis. So please grab this opportunity. And finally, we will conclude with a roundtable discussion to dive deeper into your questions and ideas. Now, we are beginning into the first session with insight on how to get published. So before I pass the session, I would like to introduce our first invited distinguished speaker for today, Ms. Katie Peace, a senior publisher at Taylor and Francis Group. She has over 20 years of experience in publishing. She dedicated to guide both early careers like me and seasoned academic like Prof in producing impactful publication for the global market. So please welcome Ms. Katie Peace on stage.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for the College of Engineering. You've obviously given us a fantastically warm welcome already. I'm very pleased to hear about the 66 books. That's very good news to a commissioning editor. But I don't know, let's start with the 5 books and see if we can move on from there. Just to introduce myself to start with, I'm Katie Peace. I'm the senior publisher for Taylor & Francis Books in Asia Pacific. I work with a whole team of editors in Asia Pacific, and every book that we publish is global in its approach. We have a global sales and marketing team, but the really nice thing about my team is that we're here locally on the ground in Asia, so we're able to visit you face to face like this. We can have calls and videos, Skypes with you on the same time zone, so it makes it much easier. So I'll show you a little bit about my team in a second, but just to say I have 20 years experience in academic publishing, both in journals and books, and my priority today is to try and help you to move forward in your book publishing journey. So please do take the opportunity whilst I'm here to ask me all the questions that you have, anything that's blocking you from making your progress with your book publications. There's no silly questions. I'm really happy to answer anything you have to ask me. So don't leave without having asked your question at the end. But my talk today hopefully will give you a little bit of understanding about the process, to sort of demystify it for you. So this is my team. So I'm the lead publisher, but we actually have a specific editor called Andrew Stowe, who is the one nearest to me here, who's our commissioning editor specifically for engineering. He's actually based in Japan, but he covers authors all across Asia. He has visited Malaysia. I don't think he came here last time, but I will tell him to come next time and visit you in person. But I can put you in contact with him for any future discussions as well. But I have this team just for Asia Pacific authors. So the books that we publish don't have to be about Asia. They don't have to be, they don't have to be based on, particularly on Malaysia. But the nice thing is, as I say, we're locally available. So you have that global sales and marketing, but with a local contact. A little bit about us as a company. We have 2 book publishing brands. One is Routledge, which is our humanities and social sciences book brand. And then we have CRC Press, which is our science, technology, and medical books, where our engineering books appear as well. So CRC Press is the brand at which your book would appear under. We're obviously a very established publisher. We've been around 200 years. We're one of the top 5 publishers in the world in terms of academic standing and the number of books as well. So we're a very strong publisher to have hopefully your first or next book with. We publish more than 7,000 books a year, not just in engineering, but across every subject area. And we have 2,700 journals. So we have a really strong journal program as well. So if you do have a question about journals, feel free to ask a question about that as well. Our journals are all published under the Taylor & Francis brand. So we as a publishing company are called Taylor & Francis, but CRC Press is the STEM books and Routledge is the SSH books as well. I'm just a little, I don't think I need to push this slide because we've just heard about how important books are to your department, but this is a little bit of information about why I think it's really good to publish book. I know in engineering a lot of academics focus on journal publishing, which is very important as well, but I would very much suggest that you have a plan for your publishing, for your research, so that you have your journal articles, but you also think about a longer term, bigger book project as well. You have a chance to stake your ideas and make your case for what your specialty area is, particularly in the areas of engineering when things are moving quite quickly and there's lots of technological developments. If you don't tell people what you're doing and explain what you're doing to a wider audience, then it's possible somebody will beat you to the punch in another part of the world. So it's important to get your flag into your area of research. You can collect all your ideas in one place as well. And books do have a longevity and they can last a lot longer than a journal article. Journal articles tend to go very quickly. Book projects tend to be still relevant in a 5 or 10 year period as well. And in terms of English, I know it's not so easy sometimes to write in a language that may not be your first language. But if you want to expand your ideas and your networks into an international community, then English is unfortunately the way that that has to be done. So to enter a conversation globally with people, you do need to be thinking about English. Okay, so publishing overview. The first thing you need to think about is to develop your book idea. So that means talk about your book idea with anybody that you can find who will listen to you. That might be your head of department. It might be your other colleagues, your friends, your family. Talk about the idea. Explain what you're thinking. Would this be interesting? Do you think I've covered everything I need to cover? If you're thinking about a book for students, is this going to be interesting to your students? Would other lecturers be interested in teaching using this material? And then approach a commissioning editor. Ideally, if you're very lucky to have a commissioning editor in your presence right here. Hello, it's me. But if you can't find a commissioning editor who comes to visit your department, you can look on our website, or now you have my contact, you can pass my name to your friends and I can be in contact with them. But ultimately, most publishers will have a list of the contacts of their commissioning editor on their website, and they're very happy for you to contact them and tell them about your idea. Have a discussion before you put your book proposal together so that they can give you some clues and some hints as to which way to go with your book idea. The second thing is to write your book proposal. So this isn't a book manuscript. We're not asking you to write the book. We're asking you to write down what your idea for the book is. And it's a very simple questionnaire. I'm going to talk through that in a bit more detail in a minute. But what I need from you is all the information about what the book will be about, what the idea is, so that we can judge from a commercial publisher whether we think it's something we can sell, do we think it's a good idea, and we can give you feedback. We'll then get the book peer reviewed. To begin with, it will go through your commissioning editor, so someone like me, who will judge the book from a publishing and commercial publisher perspective. We'll give you feedback. And then when we think the book is ready, the book proposal is ready, we will send it to subject experts. So those will be people internationally in your field of research who normally have published with CRC Press before in their area of engineering. And we will ask them to judge your book project and possibly a sample chapter and get you critical feedback so that they can tell you whether they think your idea is a good one. It's a great opportunity for you to get your name in front of some really senior academics. So make sure that you take your chance to do a good job. Once we've done the peer review process, let's suppose all the reviews are very positive, we will move ahead to offer you a book contract. And at that point, that's when you need to write the book. So all of this has been about ideas. So if you're coming today with an idea, you're already going in the right direction. You've got a good step forward towards a book contract. Once you've got a book contract, then we write the book and we'll work together to actually get that published. So a little bit about the types of books that you can publish. Most people writing their first book are writing a research book or a monograph, as we call them. You can have an authored book, so it's one or two authors writing collaboratively together, or you can have an edited book where you have one or two editors who've conceptualized the idea of the book, and they've invited colleagues from around the country or around the world to contribute ideas and chapters to that book. Both of them are equally valid. They're around 50 to 60,000 words, up to 100,000 words at the maximum. So those are called monographs. We publish them in hardback and also in ebook form, and we bring out a paperback version after 14 months. So you see the bottom row here is some of our monograph collections. We also have a short form book project called a Routledge Focus or a CRC Press Focus. These are short research books. So if you're a bit intimidated by the idea of writing something 50,000 words up, you can think about a more narrow, more specific focus project, which is 25,000 up to maximum of 50,000 words. And these two books here at the top, the purple and the green books, are Routledge Focus books or CRC Press Focus books. So that's also a possibility, particularly if it's your first book. They can be quite an easy starting point for you because they're a little bit shorter. And then the final one on this slide, which is also for the research audience, is a handbook. And a handbook would be very much a reference work, normally 30 or 40 chapters. They're big projects that come together across a whole subject area. And to do a handbook, you do need to have quite a lot of experience as an editor. But if you get asked to contribute a handbook chapter, it's a very prestigious thing to be asked to do. It's a great way of learning how to write chapters and being a bit more familiar within the international audience. So think about that. So those are all books that you write for a research audience, so other people like yourself. There are two other types of audience. So the other main type of audience, which I think would be interesting to you, would be students. You may not find a textbook that really suits your market in terms of Southeast Asia or Malaysia particularly. Maybe there's an opportunity for you to write the textbook for your students, for your market here. Maybe the book that everyone uses is an American book and it's not got the Southeast Asia flavor or context or case studies. So maybe there's an opportunity for you to write a textbook for one of your topics or for one of your sessions. So that's something you can consider. When you're writing for students, you do need to think about pedagogy, you need to think about summarizing things, maybe make the language a little bit less high-level academic. So very much think about that audience, it's really important. Other than writing a textbook for your main course, so introduction to engineering, introduction to civil engineering, for example, you can also write supplementary or recommended reading books, which are also aimed at a student market, but it's more for a number of different courses in engineering, not just the one main textbook. These are more likely to be for a master's or a postgraduate level student market. So it's important to think about who you want to reach with your book before you start writing so that you can write the right type of book idea, book proposal. The third audience, which again I think is really relevant to you as engineers, would be professionals. I know many of you will have links with industry, and a lot of the work you'll be doing will be actually in collaboration with industry partners. So you might want to write a book collaboratively with your industry partner, which would be used by engineers in the workforce. So rather than it being a book in academia only, think about the book might have impact in the actual community of engineers as well. So that's a possibility. Routledge does a lot, CRC Press, sorry, does a lot of books for professional engineers as well. So those are the three types of audiences you might be writing for. Okay, so the next couple of slides are about the actual proposal form. I ended up screenshotting this to actually show you what the form looks like. So it's completely not scary at all. This is exactly what it looks like. This is all we're asking you to do, is to complete the form. It's a Word document, and we're just asking you to tell us about your book idea. So we want to know the title of the book. If you're thinking about how to write the title, think about if nobody knew your book existed, what would they type into Amazon or a Google Book search or a Google Scholar search to find something in that area? What keywords would you use? Those are the books. Those are the words that should appear in your book title. Try not to be too clever. We want your book to appear in a search very easily so people can find it and buy it. Actually, it works the same for journal articles. You should just always think about your keywords. We want to know if you're writing an authored book or an edited book. So you just need to tell us kind of who's going to be the main authors or the main editors. And then the rationale is the why. So a reason for writing a book, it may be that you're writing a book because you want to get promotion or because your dean or your head of department has said, write 66 books, please. But actually what you need to explain is why we as a publisher might be interested in publishing your book, why academics or students would be interested in reading and buying your book. So what is the value that you're offering with this book? What's the unique selling point? What's the uniqueness of your book? And that's really important because it's quite a big project. So you really have to be quite excited and passionate about the topic that you're writing about. So think about why is this interesting and tell us in the rationale. Sell your book idea to us in the rationale. The synopsis is very much the what's inside the book. So we ask you to tell us the names of the chapters that you're planning and an abstract for each chapter. So what's going to be inside the book? Just a couple of a couple of paragraphs will be enough, but we need to know what you're planning to write in each chapter so that myself and the reviewers can give you feedback on what's going to be inside the book. If you've never written a book for us before, we will also ask you to do a sample chapter. So a chapter of your book that you haven't yet finalized, written for the book project. It's a really good way of knowing that you can write and seeing how hard it is or how easy it is to write a sample chapter. It also gives us and the reviewers a chance to understand how you write, the tone of your writing, your level of English, all of those things. So think about putting that time and energy into writing a sample chapter. It really helps. And then we'll ask you to tell us how long the book is. So you'll remember I mentioned most books are around 50 to 100,000 words. I would aim for somewhere like 70 to 80,000, try and be somewhere in the middle ideally, but we'll tell you if that's not quite right. The soundbite is your marketing pitch. It's your chance to wow us with why your book's so exciting and fantastic. So it's what would appear on the back cover of any book. So you all know, you've all got lots of books. If you look at the back, normally it will tell you a little bit about the book. So you start with a quick description of the book, what's going to be inside it, what are the features and benefits to the reader, and then who is the audience of that book. And we normally use this to send to reviewers to try and entice them to review your proposal. So it kind of needs to be a reasonably sexy and exciting pitch for your book. Catchwords, 6 words that describe your book, so the topics of your book. If you're doing an edited volume, we want to know why you've chosen those chapters. Where have they come from? How are they themed together? How are they pulled together? And a bit about who's actually writing. Readership and market. This is what I'm talking about in terms of who are you writing the book for? Who do you want to receive the information that you're writing in your book? Is it students? Is it academics? Is it professionals? And give us a little bit of information about who that audience is. Are they based in Malaysia? Are they in Southeast Asia? Or is it a global audience that you're trying to reach? And then competition is really important. So you hope that your book is going to be really well read by people. You hope it's going to be well cited and received. What other books are out there which could compete with your book? And why is your book better? Because if it isn't better, why are you writing it? So it's important to say which books are there, how is your book better, and give us that information. The other thing to be aware of is that we will send your book proposal to senior academics in your field. If you've forgotten to tell us about their book and acknowledge the fact that they've done a book similar to yours, they will be really mad. So it's very important to really think about name checking, the big names in your field and making sure that you've given them some due diligence in your proposal. And that's largely it. That's all we're really asking for, is that's the information that we need at this stage for us to be able to consider whether or not we think it's a good potential project. The editor might ask you other questions. They might give you some more kind of clarificatory questions, but ultimately that's all we need from you. So not so hard, right? Yeah, all ready to go out and do your next book project? Maybe you sound a bit unsure still. We'll carry on a little bit more and then we can ask some questions at the end. So the proposal peer review process. So as I said, somebody like myself, it would be Andrew Stowe, my editor in engineering, in your case, would receive your initial book proposal, and then they would make the initial assessment. Now, we're not subject experts. You're the subject experts. But what we're looking at is the commercial publisher perspective. We can talk to you about structure. We can talk to you about selling your book. We can talk to you about how things are trending or what works or what doesn't work. So we'll give you our feedback on the title, on the rationale, on the blurb, all of those things before it goes to external peer review. Once we're happy with the proposal, we'll send it to 2 or 3 reviewers in your field, as I said, senior academics. So make sure that you do a really good job of your proposal. You want them to see your name for the first time and be impressed. So don't waste that opportunity to get your name in front of some senior academics. Then we will give you back feedback, whether it's minor amendments, major amendments. Very occasionally it's reject. I say very occasionally because with the difference between journal publishing and book publishing is you've already sent your proposal through somebody like me. So we have sort of vetted your proposal first. We will try and help you avoid the pitfalls that might make your proposal rejected. It's not guaranteed. Obviously, we're not subject experts, but generally we're pretty good at knowing whether something's ready to go for external peer review. And at which point we can help you know what to respond when the reviewers give you your feedback. So we'll help you with that. It's very consultative. So feedback to the author, you'll amend it, and then let's hope everything's really positive. We will then put a business case for your book to our publishing committee, who decide whether or not to offer a contract to the book. So at that point, we'll tell them, you know, we think it's this type of book, we think we're going to sell this many copies, we're really excited about this topic and this author, and they will say yes, and we can offer you a book contract. Again, sounds so easy, right? Everyone's like, yes, okay. So that process takes around 10 to 12 weeks. So not such a long time. You haven't had to pay anything. Nothing bad has happened to you. All we're doing is having a look to see whether we think it's a good idea. You might get a book contract out of it, so it's definitely something worth trying. And I'll talk to you about the contract in a second. So you'll notice in that first line, we're talking about the contract, there is no publishing fee. We don't charge you anything at all to publish with us, but we will only publish books we think we can sell, because we're a commercial publisher, so we want to make money. And we will give you a small royalty fee. Every time your book sells, we will give you a little bit of money. You're not going to make a fortune. It's not Harry Potter. You won't become a millionaire from your academic book, I can promise. But there's no risk to you, and we take all the risk. And if there's a good sales, you'll make some money, which is nice. You get a nice check periodically, and it's like, oh, Routledge, Taylor and Francis give me some money. So we cover all the costs of copy editing, typesetting, editing, all of that, including printing, selling, marketing the book. You'll retain your copyright and moral rights, but you'll license us to sell your book into other languages. So we have a rights sales team who will try and sell your book into publishers who can license it to sell in Chinese, for example, or here in Malaysia, in Malay. Lots of different languages. So if you see there's opportunity, for example, in the China market or the Korea market or something, do let us know when we're talking about the book as well. The most important thing at contract stage is everything up to this point has been ideas. At this point, you have to commit. This is when it gets real. So this is the point you say, okay, Katie, I can give you my book in 12 months or 18 months or 2 years. We don't tell you how long you have. We're not going to say you must do it in 3 months. We're going to say, how long do you think you need realistically to deliver us a good book that you feel proud of? And most people, it takes 12 months. Some people, 18 months. I wouldn't say longer than 2 years because it just becomes so far away in the future. And similarly, if you haven't started the book and you tell me 3 months, I might say, maybe a bit difficult, but let's see. But it's something you would very much coordinate with your editor about. But you need to tell us how long it's going to take you. And then you can confirm if you want to make any of the book open access. So whilst there isn't a book publishing charge at all, if you wish to, and you have some money from your department to make some of the book or all of the book open access, which means it's freely available to download, then we can help you do that. I'll tell you a bit more about that in a second. So proposal peer review takes somewhere between 2 to 6 months, depending on how much revision there is. You need to write it. It might take you 3 months or up to 2 years. It takes us between 4 and 6 months to publish the book. So we'll do the copy editing, typesetting, proofreading, printing and everything. That takes us around 6 months. So the process can be quite lengthy. So if you do want to have 66 books published next year, we need to start now. We need to hurry up. But ultimately, 6 months is the kind of average that it takes to actually publish the book once you deliver the manuscript. Our books do look very nice, and so we do take a bit of extra care compared to some publishers to make sure that they are well produced. And then our publication and sales team will do all that they can to help you promote and sell and market your book. This is my plea to maximize impact. If you do publish a book with us, please don't just print the poster we give you and put it on the door of your office and tell your mum and tell your PhD supervisor, maybe your dean or your prof. Please tell your wider academic network about your book. Be very excited, let them know, encourage them to recommend it to their library. If you don't use your academic network to promote your own research, then it won't have the impact it deserves. It's really important. So here's just some ideas of things you can do. You know, put it on your university website, make sure you put it in your email signature. You know, there's lots of things you can do. Talk to your commissioning editor, they can help you. But if the minimum you do is put it on your email signature and send it on some social networking, any social networking you have, then I think that's really good. But don't let 2 years of your life go into this beautiful, well-crafted, well-written book project and then it doesn't go anywhere. So make sure that the impact is really good. I should say Taylor & Francis is a Scopus indexed book publisher. Scopus has deemed us a Scopus indexed publisher. So the books that we publish will be automatically put in for indexing with Scopus. So that's a really positive thing for you. I know that was mentioned earlier. Okay, I'm just going to quickly go through because I think I might be running a little bit out of time. Open access. Many of you may know that you can make journal articles open access. But with book publishing, it's completely optional. And you can make one chapter of your book open access, or the whole book open access, or some chapters and leave the others not open access. It doesn't matter to me as a commissioning editor whether something's open access or not, because ultimately we either charge the end reader to buy the book or we get the open access fee. It doesn't change anything about the quality. We will only publish books we think are the right quality. The same peer review process applies. But if you do have some funds to make some of your book open access, it can really increase the visibility and impact of your book. Just some facts here about increased impact. So chapters in open access books are 7 times more downloaded than normal books. Open access books are cited 1.5 times more than non-open access books. And open access books have approximately twice as many diverse geographical authors as non-open access books. It's just about accessibility and visibility. I think the reason often is because with book publishing, people think, I don't want to tell my friends about my book because they have to buy it. I don't want to kind of be seen to be like selling my book to my friends, like, oh, please buy my book. But if you can send them a link to something free, then of course you're going to send it to them and say, here's a free download of my book, or here's a free chapter of my book. So I think people do tend to promote their book more readily when something is free. So I think this is something just to consider if you do have funding. As I say, it doesn't make a difference. We won't not publish your book if it's not open access, and we won't be more likely to publish it if it's open access. It's the same process, but it's worth being aware. So the fees are here. If anyone has any questions about the fees, do speak to me. But it's £10,000 to publish the whole book open access, or £1,250 to publish one chapter open access. There are discounts if you wait and publish your book open access after a year, 2 years, or 3 years after publication as well. So the best thing to do is talk to your commissioning editor if you think you might have some access to some funds, and they will advise you what's the best way to try and maximize your impact. Okay, so that's the end of my short overview of the book publishing process. Do you have any questions for me that you'd like me to answer? I will be around at the end as well, but please put your hand up if you've got a question for me. This is your opportunity, don't waste it. And these are my details. Please feel free to take them. I'm on WhatsApp. I'm available on Twitter if you're a Twitter person, or you can take my email address and you can email me as well. Any questions? Don't be shy. Okay, well, I will be here towards the end as well. I'm going to pass over to my colleagues, Nguyen and Lee Hong, to talk to you about data analytics and a bit of background about Malaysia and UITM. So, okay, thank you very much.
Good afternoon, friends of UITM. Very happy to be here. I was very inspired when Professor Hamidah, can you hear me? Okay. The few keywords that she was using were very inspiring. You know, she said partnership, visibility, reputation, impact. So I'm based in China. Yeah. I'm based in China, So throughout the last 9 years of my tenure, I had the opportunity to interact with faculty leaders, university leaders, to talk about strategic objective of research of their universities. There are three main areas that peers of Dr. Hamida were very interested in. Number one, in China, internationalization. Number two, thank you, talents both for the faculty, talents both for and also the students. And number three, increasing the quantity and quality of research output. And fortunately, Taylor and Francis is in a position of strength to support the universities in China. And I hope that our examples, our successful partnership with Chinese universities can be applied here to make sure that UITM and your peers in Malaysia could also benefit from our successful examples in China. And to Professor Hamida's point, it is about building partnership. It is about creating international reputation of UITM, visibility and impact. Okay. So while Katie's presentation is very hands-on, very process-driven, my presentation tend to be a bit abstract, unless you're in the responsibility of allocating research funds, planning for your research objective of your university. So bear with me and feel free if it is not 100% relevant to what you are doing. Okay. Yeah, it's about using data for us to have a dialogue. I hope it is more a two-way conversation. And impact in China, as I share with you, is measured. Impact normally in our business is about impact factors, ISI 1.0, 10.0. But in the case of our experience, delivery impact with the Chinese universities is measured in terms of how international their research output is, how much we can work together to nurture talents and quality of the research output. Introduction, as Katie mentioned, altogether we produce 7,000 to 8,000 books a year annually. And over the years, we have accumulated this amount of books titles across all disciplines in CRC, which is engineering, STEM, and medicine. And Routledge, if you're in the business of humanities and social science, you will surely 100% come across this R logo, Routledge. We publish 2,700 journals, and about 25% of them are co-published with prestigious universities in the world, in Asia, including societies. We are very proud of our authors, just like the 66 UITM authors that may potentially join us next year. And I hope one day one of you guys to appear on this screen, such as these people who won the 2024 Nobel Prize winner. Our position in China, the first 10 years of our presence since 2005 is about using this bridge to import high quality Western research output. And then increasingly, since 2015, our resources, the value of our bridge has been focused on bringing out high quality Chinese research output for international impact. So that's what I was saying. I hope the same bridge here from today's conversation can link you with your peers, engineering peers in China. I was introduced that you are very strong in civil engineering, and you may or may not be aware the top two civil engineering schools in China are Tsinghua and Tongji University in Shanghai. So we have collaboration with them. We co-published new journal titles with Tongji University recently, for example. And if you want to connect yourself or invite some of the speakers from your peers in Tongji or Tsinghua, please reach out to us. I'm happy to be the bridge to send an invitation on your behalf. And vice versa. I'm sure they'll be interested under the Belt and Road Initiative and the fact that your country Dr. Mahathir, Dr. Anwar will be the chairman of ASEAN next year. There'll be a lot of interaction between China and Malaysia. And I hope that we can establish a strong bridge for you guys to exchange ideas and experience. Yeah, the keyword here is this one. This is the foundation. Please use us, Katie and her colleagues in books publishing, including another department in journal publishing. We are the experts. We are a reputable, trusted vehicle to disseminate your knowledge globally. But this is not all. Please do not look at publishers as just, books and journals are just format to disseminate, to share knowledge. But more importantly, it is the vehicle, the resources, the expertise behind the content and the knowledge that are perhaps more valuable to you as leaders, as universities, to see how you can make better use of the more valuable assets that we have. For example, in China, we classify our audience as 3 levels according to their journey of research, ECR, okay, mid-career, and more senior professors. And each and every community has a different set of pain points, aspirations, and therefore, through the experience and trial and errors in China, Taylor and Francis have developed, in fact, co-developed a set of solutions to address ECR. When, for example, when you are not experienced enough or not familiar enough to publish in high impact factors journals or publish a book with Katie, we have a program to train you how to be a peer reviewer. Being a peer reviewer is the first step of internationalization. And we have 2,600 journals. After the training, we will do the matchmaking according to your interests and expertise to participate in internationalization of scientific communication. So tier 1, mid-career. So this is College of Engineering. We will look at the data later on within engineering, which one is small, but according to a national data, which I'm going to show quickly, Malaysia engineering peers are more interested in chemical and material engineering. Yeah, these are the 2 level 2 engineering subject area. And we are happy to share with you, say within material engineering, the list of TNF high impact material engineering journals. And let's examine these one to one. If you come across maybe 1 or 2 of them are closest to you in terms of overlapping, and you are interested to see how you can participate or engage the editorial board, we are your bridge. This is what I mean as the vehicle to disseminate is useful, valuable, and is what we are known for 200 years. But perhaps in terms of growing your international impact and reputation, use our resources, our capability to make you more credible, more visible in global academia. Maybe I pause a while. Any comments so far? You want to say something? Okay, I shall continue, okay? For time, let's focus on all subjects. This is very dry, okay, data analytics, all subjects. And then we'll go to the local level about your university. Globally, in 2023, the world produces 5.6 million papers. All subjects, OA, non-OA, all publishers. And let's take a look at ASEAN. In ASEAN, we produce 160,000. And within ASEAN, Malaysia occupies quite substantial, 25,000. Indonesia is our powerhouse here, 160,000 papers. Okay? And what's interesting to me when I look at this table is your growth. 48 nearly 50% from this period, 5-year period. So it's very interesting when my friends, Malaysian friends, told me about the social and political changes over the last few years, where university budget, especially library budget, has been affected. And this data give me a sense of confidence that I'm very enthusiastic when preparing for this trip. By the way, Lee Hong spent 2 months to help us organize this data. It's not TNF data, but it's from Dimension. Dimension is like your Scopus, your Web of Science is another provider. Okay, it's open public information if you are a subscriber, but the way we organize and dissect this information is proprietary. And some of this information I'm showing you may be debatable, particularly the ranking. You know, there'll be ranking of university, ranking of countries, ranking of publisher. So that's the reason why I will be quite tentative. I'll be quite tentative about sharing this information, these PowerPoint slides. So OA, Katie introduced you the OA book publishing in journals. It's interesting to note that globally, within this period, OA publishing has grown from 50%, but the speed and acceptance of OA publishing as a model in Malaysia runs faster than the world. But this still pales in comparison with Indonesia. Okay, this is for you to note using data. HSS, since this is an engineering audience, we'll skip. But for your reference, HSS in Malaysia is quite an important subject area. Okay, this is first year. And then let's look into STEM. STEM Malaysia is growing at nearly 40%. Okay, and the growth in China, a very STEM-oriented community, is faster. But even at 38%, 40%, congratulations, you guys are growing faster than the rest of the world at 30%. But Indonesia is the best lah, nearly 100%. Do you all collaborate with Indonesia peers? A lot, huh? Okay. In which area? College of Engineering, right? Maybe you can share experience later on in collaboration. We will have slides to show within your university who are your top collaborators. So this is all publications Malaysia. Please ignore this downward slide because it's 2024, it's not complete yet. Okay, so don't worry. So as I say, from this growth rate to this growth rate is what captures my imagination. There's a lot of things we can do together if we can put in the resources and build the partnership closer together. I think we can create greater impact internationally together. So this is a ranking among Malaysian publication. We are your number 3 nationally. OA, non-OA, all subject area. And this is STEM. STEM, we are a little bit, but still top 5, not too bad. Humanities, social science, we are number 2 ranking. These are purely publishing volume. Okay, let's look at your top 10 first tier level in Malaysia. Engineering. Again, engineering has many sub-disciplines, right? We'll look at the second tier later on. Engineering, bio. This is very fascinating to me. Your computer science and commerce are rising in terms of the importance. But it's interesting that engineering and physical science has a negative growth in 2023. Yeah, this is what I mean. Engineering still dominates, but the growth rate is not upward. And biomedical is also quite constant. The purple line is interesting to me. Chemical sciences. This is China. If you look at these, the top 10 first level discipline from China is almost a reflection of the Malaysian situation. And this tells me, as an MD for TNF China, that there is a lot for us to gain together if China, Malaysia, Taylor and Francis can be more collaborative. Second level. Okay, let's look at second level. As I predicted, material science, material engineering, chemical engineering are your top two across the country. Yeah. Later we'll look at UITM. So far, makes sense? Yeah. And what interests me is the decline over the last 2 years. I'm curious, maybe you like to share why it declined?
Put you on the spot. Just say one
It
word.
is, yeah, it is sad to say it. It is really very sad to say, but of course funding is one of the main reason. Funding is one of the main reason of why it is decreasing in terms of research grants, postgraduates and students and so on. Okay, that's the yeah.
Sure, thank
Very
you.
general.
May I share with you, may not be applicable in Malaysia. In China, where we want to build partnership with universities and there is no funding available, what we do is we work together to identify sponsor, funder, to fund a particular project. When we want to co-publish a certain new journal, for example, which requires funding, that's how we come up with a solution to overcome the funding constraint. Something that I'm happy to share experience if you need. Okay. See, are quite similar, right? Material, chemical, physical chemistry. So many overlapping area between China and Malaysia. The top 10 universities, if you are looking at China as establishing potential strategic partnership, these are the top ranking ones for material engineering. You can cherry pick. And then if you like to reach out to them through us, I'm happy to be your conduit. As I say, in civil engineering, we have close relationship with Tongji University. Oh, this is, please don't take picture, Ken. I don't want to get into trouble. Don't get into, this is only one angle of ranking. It's purely based on research volume, but there are others I mentioned, right? I don't want UM or USM to say, yeah. So this is purely volume lah, huh? But where is UITM, huh? Sorry. Let's look at this. I haven't really studied. Very respectable, right? 66% growth. Yeah, from 28, you're 66, better than many of these guys. No wonder the leader says 66 books. Congratulations. Congratulations. Yeah. I hope there is an opportunity for us to have more in-depth conversation using data and share experience how the Chinese universities are using data to allocate their resources so that you can maximize. There's an English saying, bang for your buck. More bang from your buck. It's American. This is top 10 Chinese universities. Okay. Okay, these are must be familiar to you guys, right? Across all subject area, these are the most popular journals. You have published with them, right? Can I have a show of hand? Who have published with these titles? But some of them, thank you very much. Some of them are pure OA journals. Okay, they may have displaced since the Ministry of Education policy come out. Thank you. UITM. Total, all OA, close. So what we have observed is you have grown by nearly 70%. And your OA publication has a higher percentage and close. That means the concept of publishing OA in your university is more popular than publishing under the traditional model. Make sense? Can you share with us your view on OA? Journals and books?
Actually, open access OA is for open access, yeah. Okay. So for open access, it is really very, very useful, and it can, you know, like for visibility, yeah, it is very important to the staff. But for the OA, in order for the staff, yeah, to publish in journals that OA, it requires a bit like fun. So therefore, our staff most concentrating on publishing via conference proceeding. But that is not university, we try to have as many as possible journals when compared to proceedings. So we are going for journals actually. Yeah. So it is very important for the staff to publish in open access. That is our stand. Yeah.
OA as a model has attracted multiple viewpoints,
Yes.
especially between speed, quantity, quality.
Yeah, in terms of citation of the papers, of the publication, it is very important for the visibility and so on. For referencing, it is required OA. So therefore, it's easier for other researchers to refer straight away to the journals or papers written by our staff. That's why we really encourage our staff to publish in OA. But of course, most journal is close. Yeah, it is not OA. So that is the limitation actually. But we really would like to go for OA for our staff.
And on that point, may I, as an extension to what Katie shared just now, in China, Katie was sharing with you £10,000 per title, right? And per chapter, 125, 1,250 per title. She offered discount when it is published later date. There's another way for you as an institution to benefit from discount, which what we offer in China, is that you do a prepayment in bulk of 10. Instead of doing book by book OA at the institution level, we can make an arrangement for you to enjoy upfront discount rather than waiting for 3 months or 6 months. What do you offer? 3 years. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So this is for your consideration for books as well as for journals. Yeah. So your collaborators, who are they? If you purely look at the numbers, not bad, right? Your China collaboration and your engineering. This is engineering, material science. Within Malaysia, you're top, but we across. Oh, India is interesting. India, Indonesia is quite high up among material science. Among electrical engineering, still Malaysia in internal collaboration is the highest. Malaysia, within Malaysia, yeah. By the way, this data come from insights. Yeah, and yeah. We don't use Scopus. Yeah. I know. Yeah. Yes. I don't know why we don't use Scopus, Li Hong. Do you have a reason? We don't have the subscription. Yeah. Yeah, correct. But in China, everybody use WOS. Right. It is my hope that from today's conversation, we can offer our resources and as value of a bridge to increase this part, particularly the engineering. Yeah. Okay, your university in terms of level 1 and level 2, still dominated by engineering. You must have a very strong and robust leadership for you to achieve that. Engineering is always at the top at UiTM. Congratulations. See, all dominated by engineering, huh? Yeah. The trending part is also very admirable. It is not just big number you are trending upward, except this red one is trending downward. The green one, psychology, is trending downward. So engineering, fantastic. I think that's about it. HSS. This is your top tier publication within UiTM. Makes sense? HSS publication. STEM discipline. Your top tier, top ranking journals. So Li Hong has organized for you our journal list, which are most relevant to your research area. Feel free, if your library doesn't subscribe to you, we are happy to open up for a period of time for you to access. If you find one or two journals most closely related to you, we are happy to introduce editorial board members to engage and speak to your audience. Engineering, yeah. These are civil engineering only. Yeah. Civil engineering only. We can email you after that, yeah. Civil engineering, top civil engineering, as I say, Tongji, okay, Tsinghua, all these are top tier if you are interested to connect with them. Yeah, I think it makes sense. This is our activities in China. We hope to do the same to offer you the partnership to create international visibility and reputation. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for Mr. Ang Eng Wan and Ms. Katie Peace for the insightful presentation regarding publishing process as well as the data analytics towards the collaboration with Stella and Francis. So now the session is open for Q&A. All right, so please do not hesitate to share your thoughts and queries. All right, so can we have the first question from the floor? Dr. Azinda, do you have any question? Please welcome. Dr. Sakia, do you have any question on your mind?
Does anybody have a book idea in their mind that they might like to write? Brave gentleman at that. Hello. Thank you for passing that to me, Engor. I think it's a fantastic question. Thank you so much for that. It's a really interesting one. I think the development of AI is posing a lot of questions, a lot of challenges. I don't think it's a final, I don't think we've ended anywhere yet. It's still in development. All I can tell you at the moment from a publishing perspective is we're putting in quite a lot of safeguards to make sure that our publishing integrity stays intact in terms of making sure that things aren't being written using AI. We're very clear that we ask any author to declare any tools that they've used. We recognise that with language editing, it can be really helpful to have some sort of LLM to sort of smoothen and soften, polish your English. But we would advise you to be really wary because so many LLMs just suck in all the data you put into them, and then your thesis or your manuscript or your journal article will just be kind of in that data for someone else to use or see. So you've got to be quite careful kind of knowing what the LLM that you're using or the AI tool is actually doing with the content that you put into it. But I do think the tools are there and they can be quite helpful. In terms of will they replace books and whether students are actually going to just use an AI, at the moment AI tools aren't that reliable in terms of bringing back facts. What they tend to do is bring back things that may look like facts but have fake citations or hallucinated references, and so actually it isn't easy for students to rely on AI at the moment. And most academic higher education lecturers that I've spoken to have said they've become very quickly used to seeing something, an essay or a piece of work that's been written using AI. And I know I've received a few proposals recently and I can spot an AI proposal a mile away because there's just set language that gets used, there's a certain set of kind of bullet pointing and things that happens, and I think it's not at the moment so difficult to detect that it's causing a huge amount of problem. Will it change? Will the future be different? I don't know. We as a company are trying to innovate, and one of the things we're exploring is, whether we can create sort of like an AI chatbot alongside things like textbooks, so that the content is just being searched, and it will bring back factual results for students to make it easier for students to search our textbooks or to search our databases and bring back a fact or bring back a citation or a quote. So I think things will change, and I think it will be easier for students. But at the moment, I don't see it as the threat that people think it might be. It just means the really lazy students are even more obvious than they used to be, because you can see which ones have just thrown something into ChatGPT and tried to submit it as their own. I hope that helps. I haven't really got all the answers, but I certainly don't see it at the moment as being something that's likely to replace books. Hopefully, with some of the language tools, it will be an aid, a guide to help people get quicker, get better, find it easier to write in English. Nguyen, did you want to add anything to that?
Thank you. This is my favorite topic. Thanks for raising. Simply because I work for Taylor and Francis, which survived for 200 years for one main reason: reputation, trust, credibility. And this is a rare commodity in the information era, not to mention the AI era where deepfakes are easily accessible. And fortunately, your question relating to book publishing, we are not in any book publishing. We are in research academic book publishing. And based on my interaction with your peers in China, who I'm sure you are aware that they are very into this at the cutting edge, especially in the application area, we believe there's a consensus that the current level of AI solutions are good at reorganizing existing knowledge. But for us as academic and scientific publisher, what we value the most to foster human progress through knowledge, that's our slogan. What we value the most are breakthrough knowledge. At the moment, AI capability is not there yet to give whether the author or anybody in the research community to guide you, to offer you breakthrough knowledge, but they probably could guide you. Now, coming back as a publisher, what do we use? You had heard from Katie about book site. In a journal site, we use AI to help our authors make decisions. We have 2,600 journals, and sometimes as an author, your bigger challenges would include things like, where do I put? Can this editorial board accept? Is it relevant? So we have an AI tool on our website to do the guidance. Another pain point that has been more or less addressed by AI is the peer review process. It takes a lot of time for a publisher like us to identify the right expert in your field to review your papers. So we are deploying AI to accelerate the peer review process, and many more will come. It's evolving. I just bought a new iPhone which says got AI, right? The iPhone 16, and I purposely get my relative from Singapore to buy because the China version is not really AI. But lo and behold, after going through the big loop and since I was told this is beta. It's not AI. So back to Katie's point, even this is Apple, it's still evolving. It's still not a complete AI development stage. Everything is still on beta.
All right. So I have one question for Miss Katie and Mr. Ang and Wang as well. So based on your personal experience, can you suggest or advise to us how we can transform our thesis into a book based on the publisher perception? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. That's a really important question, and I often put that in as a slide when I'm doing one of these talks because I think it's really important to realise. The main thing to be aware of is that Taylor and Francis doesn't publish theses as is. We don't take the front cover off your dissertation and stick a CLC press cover and then publish it as a book. But we would be crazy not to accept the really rigorous and fantastic research that you've done as part of your thesis and help to encourage you to create a book from that research. The key difference is that you don't necessarily need to include everything that you included for your thesis research in the book, and you can be much more relaxed when you write a book. It's not as formal, the structures are not quite as kind of rigid in terms of what you have to put in there, and the language. You're not trying to prove to anybody that you can be a researcher. You have your PhD. Now what you need to tell is other researchers, what did you do? What did you use as a model, as a research methodology, and what are the findings? And not even in that order. You could start with what the findings are and then tell them what the research methodology was at the end. So you can be quite free. We have a particular guidance document that I can send anybody that would like to receive it, which gives you some step-by-step instructions on how to start, how to consider what's the most important things to include, what you can take out or pare down from your thesis as well. But your commissioning editor will advise you and guide you. And if we see the proposal is very much too much like a thesis, we will advise you on how to make it less thesis-like, because it's one of the most common things we get from reviewers is they say, oh, this person hasn't really gone beyond their thesis. They haven't tried to rewrite or rethink about the content. And one of the reasons we ask you for a sample chapter is so that, again, they can see that you've thought beyond being a thesis writer and thought about your monograph or your reference book. So yeah, really happy to help you do that. But you just need to pare it down, think about what's the most important thing, and be a bit more relaxed in your approach and enjoy it. You know, you want the people who are reading your book to enjoy reading it. And honestly, the people who read your thesis tend to be your research supervisor and your examiners. They're paid to do it. It's their job. If you ask somebody who's a very busy researcher to read something quite formal and heavy, they might just never get past the first chapter, right? So you want somebody to want to read it, and you want people to say, wow, I really enjoyed Prof's book. Please, recommend it to your library or tell your friends or, recommend it. So I hope that answers your question, but I can absolutely send you that guidance. Even if you're not quite ready yet, you can let me know and I can send you that to give you a little bit of a starting point.
Thank you. I would be going into books, but sharing the China experience, I'll answer your question instead of thesis, how Chinese universities raise the standard, raise the quality of their research output. Okay. Internationalization. They are very, very keen. They have considerable amount of resources to send their researchers to go out and attend conferences in the US, in Europe. But increasingly, as you can see, the international environment has not been conducive for them to do that. So they still continue to be enthusiastic and hungry. So if the professors can't go in, they send their students. Students over the years also cannot go, particularly in the US, there's some universities are sanctioned by them. They even send their pre-university students to represent them. So the opportunity, they grab every opportunity to connect themselves with the top tier researchers through conferences and workshop and research collaboration. And second thing that they do is to always look at ways to innovate and transform a core discipline like material science, like water management. They will introduce the latest technology algorithm, data analytics, AI, augmented reality, and civil engineering, for example. So the Chinese researchers, they're always looking out for trending subject area to revitalize the core disciplinary area. And finally, they are looking to apply research, basic research, to solve real-life problems. So in order to do that, Chinese researchers and their institutions are very open-minded to embrace all basic science from all disciplinary. Is public health during COVID? Is public health humanities? Not really. Is it science? There's some elements of it. So they are very embracing from all, like Deng Xiaoping say, right? As long as the cat catch the mouse, it doesn't matter it is white or black. It's the same thing. They want results, they want solutions. by embracing all disciplines. You add anything?
All right. Yeah.
I know no one's asked this question, but I'm just going to say something that comes up every time I do one of these talks about previously published materials. So a lot of people who are considering writing a book will ask me, can I use a journal article I've already published, or can I use some materials that I've already published? What I would say is it's very rare for someone to write a book, a full book, which may be 50 or 60,000 words, without having used some material that they've already published. In some ways, you're trying out some of your ideas and getting that feedback from journal publications or conference papers before you go into writing the book. And that's great because you've tried some of that out, you've got feedback and you've developed it. So absolutely you can use some of your previously published material in your book. You don't have to start completely from scratch. What I would avoid though is using only previously published materials to try and create a book. Partly because with a book you're trying to sort of set out your stall as an academic and stake your claim and tell people who you are as an academic. If they've read your journal articles and for some reason they've been following you and they've read all your content, and then they buy your book and it's the same, it's the same thing, it's all the same material, then they may feel quite let down and you've kind of wasted your opportunity. It's a bit like buying a ticket to your favorite comedian and finding all the jokes are the same. You'd be very disappointed. You'd feel like you've wasted a ticket price. So make sure if you get a chance to write a book that you take the opportunity to build on the foundations of the research that you've done and the content that you've already published. You can repurpose it, you can add to it, you can change it and reformulate it. Obviously make sure you self-cite and let people know that you're using other material, be transparent. But you can absolutely build on the content you've already published. Don't feel that you have to start completely from scratch. I hope that's helpful. I know that comes up a lot when I have these talks. No issue with about 20%. Yeah, but there can be slightly more if you're not using it verbatim. We would recommend you try and intersperse the stuff you've already done as quotes or tables or data through the book, rather than just going, I'm going to take my journal article and make it chapters 1, 2, and 3. Like try and yeah. 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 Yeah, and you can have a conversation with your commissioning editor. The key thing is to remember you're working with somebody like me who is helping and guiding you. So we'll be really honest. If you send us a message and you say, I'm wondering about using 5 journal articles and I'm going to add 1 more chapter, we will tell you maybe that's too much. You need to think about adding some additional content. But have that conversation. You can become quite friendly. We are a collaborator. We're not the evil enemy. So just talk to us about your questions. Please do ask. It's rather that than sit there thinking I don't know the answer, so I'm just not going to publish, because that's the worst thing, right? I mean, your book is your work and you're writing a book from your own perspective, so I don't see any real problem with you using quite a lot of your own work. But what I said at the beginning about entering a conversation with international international academics, if you're entering that conversation, it's fair to get them to speak too. So if you don't include other people's work, you don't reference and cite other people's content, they will feel as if you're just talking at them. And what you want is to have a conversation. So very much think about, balancing your own work and showing the foundations you've built your work on, who are the other leaders in that field. So it's an important part, in the same way as with the journal article, to make sure that you're giving due diligence and deference to those who've come before you as well. So I think you kind of answer your own question by knowing, if it's just all you, here's what I did, and here's what I did, and here's what I did, you probably aren't going to get as many people listening as if you include your own work in the context of other leading academics as well.
All right. So thank you very much, Mr. Ang Eng Guan and Ms. Ketapis. All right, so actually we already reached end of our book publishing with Stella and Francis sessions. So I would like to express our sincere gratitude to our esteemed speakers, Ms. Ketapis, Mr. Ang Eng Guan, and Ms. Lee Hong for sharing their expertise and guidance. All right, so now I would like to invite Professor Technologist Dr. Aida Binti Jumahat to present tokens of appreciation to our invited distinguished speakers. So we start with Ms. Kathy Peace. Mr. Ang Eng Guan.
We have a little gift. Thank you. Let's show you. This ink, so we cannot travel by air, you know. We cannot send by courier. Thank you.
And Ms. Lee Hong. Thank you very much, Professor Technologist Dr. Aida Binti Jumahat, for facilitating this token of our appreciations. And once again, thank you, our distinguished speaker, for a truly enriching session. Thank you again to all attendees for your participation. We hope this session has been as informative and inspiring for you. As a saying goes, to every beginning, there is an ending. Thank you and have a wonderful day ahead till we meet again in the next event. And attention to all attendees, may I invite everyone in this hall for a photo group, right? So let's we come in close so we can fit everyone into a frame and make this a memorable moment together. All right, so don't forget to scanning the QR code displayed on the screen. All right, so and all attendees, you are invited for a refreshment. This is a perfect chance to unwind, network, and continue the day's discussion in a more relaxed setting. All right, so the refreshment station located on the next room at the back. All right, thank you very much.